Your job is probably the most valuable thing that you have. Let me add some context to this. Here's a message I received last night. Hey, Jeremy, I found an old goals book that I wrote 10 years ago. And while reading it with my wife, I realized that everything I wrote came true. First and foremost, crazy. Has this happened to you? Have you ever found an old goals list and you're like, oh my gosh, I've hit everything? It's phenomenal how that works. Creating the intention and writing down on a piece of paper the brain waves that become metaphysical into the physical. And therefore, the act of just doing that is a representation of the thought becoming a thing. All right. I said I wanted a house with a fireplace, rare in Staten Island, and now I do. I wanted 2 boys, and now I have 2 boys. I wanted to be a trainer for his company, and now I am, and I run the entire training division. I wanted to make $100,000 a year. Now I make $170,000. It was truly amazing, but as I delved deeper into thought, mostly about money and my job, I feel like I picked things I knew I could likely get if I outworked everyone. Even now, my goal is $300,000 a year, and with 2 more promotions that I'm very confident that I will get, my salary be about $265,000, and with some good investments, I might make $300,000. My issue is I feel like I've made challenges to myself that I know are in arm's reach, and if I really try, I make more than all of my friends, all of my family, and they look at me like, wow. But then when I surround myself with you and the guys in the group and a few other acquaintances, I know I'm pretty broke and I feel like a fraud. Anyway, sorry to write you a novel, but I feel like the biggest thing I need to conquer in this course is that I really want to think bigger. I love my job, but it will never make me rich. How do I continue to work hard and succeed at my job, but also stop playing it safe and break out of the middle class? Oh my goodness, what a message. I love it. Here's the truth. Your job is probably one of the best assets you have. If you have a wife, if you have a family, and if you have kids, man, being an entrepreneur is tough. Good grief. If you have not read the book, The E-Myth, make sure you check it out. Being an entrepreneur is not that cool. It is so difficult. And I'm really happy. I got lucky. I started my entrepreneurial journey in my early 20s, and I did retire at the age of 24. Now, retire, I'm going to talk about that word in a future video. But what you need to understand is banks hate entrepreneurs, because if you go out and start your own business, now you own a business. And now you're at some point going to have to draw money from your business. But there's so many other complications that are required, not only you having 2 years of tax history, but then of course, if your business doesn't do good enough, or you don't pay yourself enough, or you write off too much, or if your business or personal credit get impacted, it becomes very hard to be a prolific investor as an early entrepreneur. In fact, you probably end up having to start 3 to 4 to 5 different businesses because the first one may or may not work. And then you have to roll into this tax period. It becomes extremely challenging. So my thought to you is, if you currently have a job, keep it. Because one of the things I know for sure, and what this gentleman wrote in this message, is that if he worked hard enough, he knows, he's very confident that he can get a large promotion at work. Here's the deal, family. Make sure that you pour in tons of value into your current company and role. The likelihood that you will increase your value, which means you will increase your salary, your paycheck, is astronomical. The simple fact is, if you help your company either reduce expenses or create more income, there will be a tipping point where you too will begin to get paid more. And if for some reason over the course of many months or maybe even a couple of years that's not the case, go find another job. There's so many companies hiring. We need employees. We need individuals who are willing to put in the time and the energy and the effort to create income sources for businesses. Now, if you can find more value at your job and you can create more value, you're already there. Now you're making more money. Use those additional funds to do 2 things: invest in stocks and invest in real estate. Those 2 asset classes will always perform well over a longer period of time. And if you have a job and you are a valuable asset to your company, you are an employee who is really actively looking at ways to reduce inefficiencies at work, reduce costs, reduce spending, reduce expenses, and or increase sales, increase opportunities, increase revenue, and increase profits, you will not get fired. You will be someone that truly is important to the role of your company. And then you can most likely, again, get a raise, get a promotion, get more income. And if you're acting in that form, you have the ability to take additional income and begin buying real estate and begin buying stocks. That's exactly what I told the gentleman who sent me that message, because ultimately, and you might have heard that he's living in Staten Island, New York. So in that area of the world, real estate is going to be extremely challenging to buy with a smaller income of $170,000 a year, which is actually a really great income. But I think if you're watching this video in New York, you know that's really not that great of an income. But $170,000 in like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of Florida is astronomical. So that particular gentleman taking $10 to $20 to $30,000 to set it aside over the course of a year with his W-2 employment to buy a rental property in the state of Georgia, in the state of Florida, in the state of Oklahoma, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. There's plenty of pretty nice homes in the ranges of $180,000 to $245,000 that you can buy relatively turnkey, probably put almost no money into it at all, get a property management service, and then get a renter in that home. And that renter can cover all of the expenses of the home to you. Now, of course, if you're buying a real estate investment, you do need 20% down. Every single person here watching this knows this, but 20% down on a $200,000 house is only 40 grand. Yes, it might take a very concerted effort, a really singular focus to raise and to collect and to save that amount of money over the course of a year or a year and a half. But if you have clarity of thought, clarity of intention, and you start writing down your goals, you already heard that this particular gentleman hit his goals that he wrote down 10 years prior. That's a decade. So imagine you start focusing with the job that you have now, how to make more money, how to increase your value. If he goes from 170 to 265, that's $100,000 extra a year. He's already living well. He's already living comfortable. Me working with this particular gentleman, he already has a wife. He already has 2 boys, as he mentioned in the text message. Therefore, he's making an extra $100,000 a year. That is one, if not 2 extra rental properties and a couple of thousand extra dollars into the stock market. And that's just 1 year. Now, once you have 2 rental properties, at some point, those houses can become more valuable, especially if you put a little bit of work into them. You can then get a cash out refinance, take a little bit of your money out. The tenant is still paying and covering all of your expenses. And you can start taking that cash out refi, which is a tax-free event, and then transfer that into additional properties to begin to slowly increase your real estate portfolio. Having a nice 6-figure W-2 tells a bank that you are stable. Banks are much more likely to lend to an individual that has a W-2 form of employment, that has a nice steady income, that has been at that job for more than 3 years. The likelihood of you getting a loan is almost 100%. So having the ability to pick and choose certain locations that you can buy a property, give it to a property manager, have them manage it, have them get a renter, put a renter in the property. And if you begin doing that, having clarity of thought, clarity of intention, already having your lifestyle kind of set, climbing the ladder a little bit, getting some additional income from the additional value that you create for your company, taking that additional value, adding to your stock portfolio, and then adding to your real estate portfolio. If you do this over the course of 3 to 5 years, escaping the middle class is a guarantee. Now, of course, the question, Jeremy, if this is so easy, why doesn't everyone do it? And you all know my answer, because it's easier not to. That's the truth. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to show you how you can begin to dream again, to step into that American dream, to step into what's available and what's possible for you and your family, becoming financially free, becoming financially independent, having time freedom, having wealth, riches, prosperity, abundance, and most importantly, wealth. My name is Jeremy Alexander Newsome. I'm the greatest wealth coach in the world. I look forward to serving you. Thanks for watching this video.